So thank you everybody for showing up. My name's Rose. Sam will be joining us in a second. I think I inadvertently created two meetings, and so she's over in the other one making sure there's no stragglers. So thank you for coming. We just decided on a whim to put on this series of 4 short, sharp bites on palliative care, right? You know, the basics. This is by no means comprehensive. So if you're interested in getting to know more, please reach out. We've got our email addresses at the end of this presentation. If you don't know who we are, we work for the Hume region, which is quite a large area, and I've no doubt, I mean, hopefully, it's part of you're working in the Hume region yourselves in aged care. And we are here to provide resources and support and education for aged care workers and disability support workers across the region. So if you have any questions, please please email us. We love to get messages from people. So today we thought we'd start with advanced care planning because it's a very good place to start. It's actually a great sort of practical thing to grab onto, and getting advanced care planning started then is a great sort of springboard to go to bounce off into other areas around palliative care and end-of-life topics. So we're going to kick off with an acknowledgement. So I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we all work, live and play, the Bangarang and the Yorta Yorta peoples here in Wangaratta, but for you, wherever you are too. I acknowledge their ongoing connection to land, waters and culture, and I recognise that sovereignty was never ceded. I pay my respects to elders past and present and emerging, and those who never achieved elderhood status due to colonisation. And I pay my respects also to any First Nations people who may be on this call with us today. Now, Sam's just coming into the room, so lovely. So this is usually the way a lot of people approach death and dying and advanced care planning. The minute you start suggesting that people might like to get their advanced care planning done, they usually run screaming from the room. And unfortunately, I think a lot of nurses tend to look at this as well and think that it's always somebody else's job, that either they don't have the time or they don't have the skills or the knowledge to help people to do it. But I'm here to tell you, or we're here to tell you, that that's not the case. I've obviously put this one in the wrong spot. To start with, please put away all your distractions. It's only half an hour. We'll be nice and quick. We may even finish earlier, who knows? But we're definitely here for you to ask questions. We really want to hear from you. We love it when people put their hands up or interact in the chat box. So please do that. And Sam will be, Sam will have to be standing by because I'm driving the PowerPoint, so I can't see the chat.
I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah, so give us your full attention for now, and just see this as a nice chance to stop all those other things that are competing for your attention. There is a video, but we didn't have time for that, I don't think. So it's called, if you write this down, it's called Love is Not Enough, and it's been put out by, was it the ABC or?
Advanced Care Planning Australia.
Advanced Care Planning Australia.
Yeah.
So if you
can get the link for you all while Rose is chatting.
Yeah, thank you. So advanced care planning, it's never too early. There's the number of times I hear someone say, "Oh, I'm not ready for that yet." No, it's not time for that yet, as if you've got to be dying before you have an advanced care plan. I would argue that that's actually too late. There's almost no point in having an advanced care plan when you're dying. It's supposed to be for care in advance, when you're well, when you've still got your faculties and you're able to think clearly about these things without some kind of serious disease bearing down on you. This is the time when you think about the kind of situations you'd like to find yourself in or not find yourself in, and be able to sort of think about it rationally and talk to you've got the space and the time to talk to your friends and family about it as well. Do any of you have one? And I would suggest that if you're going to be working with people and talking about these issues, I think it's really important that you show up authentically and having done the work yourself, so that you understand the nuances and the particular sort of challenges there are around doing this work. We don't want to be hypocrites. It's a great process to go through, and it's no one ever died from having an advanced care plan. No one ever was disadvantaged by having an advanced care plan. I think it's really useful for any of us, because none of us know what's coming for us, and any of us could end up in ICU with the family gathered around and the doctor turning to them and saying, "So what do you want us to do?" And if you haven't ever talked about it, you may end up in a situation that you didn't anticipate and didn't want, you or one of your family members. So I strongly encourage you to pick up the process and do it yourself. We'll give you the website at the end of this presentation that is the place to go to in Australia to get all the information you need. It's packed full of resources, got all the forms and all the directions and instructions that you could possibly want. So, palliative care is core business in residential aged care. I'm going to bang on about this until the day I die, or at least until the day I get out of this job. If you're not doing palliative care, then you're not doing aged care right. The whole of aged care the palliative approach should be applied to aged care across the board. It's core business in aged care, and so as an aged care worker, it's up to you to take it upon yourself to improve your skills in this area. So some of the questions you could ask are, how often are conversations happening with family members and residents, and when do they happen in your particular workplace? Do you reckon they happen often enough? Or is there, if you asked some 5 of your colleagues, what's the biggest bugbear? I've certainly heard this from plenty of aged care workers, and the first thing they'll say is the families. Oh my God, the alarms and excursions around families. And I would argue that a lot of the time, those kind of stressors and the angst around families can be calmed down by having more regular family meetings and more regular communication with family members. Sam, would you agree?
Oh no, absolutely. While you were chatting, I popped a couple of links in the chat boxes as well. But yeah, I think that one of the biggest stresses that we have as people who work with residents and families of residents is having to get everyone on board, and in particular having to get everyone on board and on the same page in a crisis. And so the best advice Rose and I can give is work on getting comfortable having these conversations with people before the crisis. And if advanced care planning is one of the best tools in your toolkit to be able to do that, advanced care planning doesn't have to end in a legal document, which is the directive. It's brilliant if it does, but any conversation around what someone's wishes should be, should they be unable to speak for themselves, is indeed an advanced care plan. So you're probably doing it, maybe you're not calling it that.
Yeah. And getting back to the families, I think most of the family issues that you'll encounter all come back to either guilt or grief or both, about the fact that they've had to put their family member in aged care, and they are not dealing with it very well, and the grief of seeing their elderly relative age and becoming approaching end of life. So a lot of the time, all you need to do is just stop and sit with them for a little while longer and try and understand what's behind any kind of perceived negative behaviour that they might be demonstrating. advanced care planning in the aged care context, I think, is more about finding out what your ultimate goals of care are, and always trying to apply the palliative approach. You know, we shouldn't be reaching for the phone and ringing the ambulance straight away. Most of our residents won't be served well by that approach, unless obviously, you know, they've got a broken leg or something really obvious that can be reversed quickly. But a lot of the time that's not the case. And if we do advanced care planning and find out what their goals are, what direction we're trying to head in, then we can certainly short circuit a lot of those emergent kind of situations where the ambulance is rung and they're off to the hospital and lying on a trolley in A&E before we've even stopped and thought, you know, what did they really want? You know, what was their aim? The change in condition is a fantastic trigger to spark a family meeting or a chance to look at the advanced care plan or the goals of care to find out whether we're still on the right track. So that would be like an acute admission, say a fall or an infection, chest infection, or, you know, some kind of wound infection. Yes, and the trajectories. I don't think we've got the trajectories in this thing. Sam, were you going to show us that? Was that what you were going to pull up?
I'm going to show. I've just popped a link into. But if you're happy from, I don't have sharing permission. I just realised. I was when we talk about deterioration and communication skills, we'll show you the graph of death. So that's something to look forward to. But here is there is a graph from LDAC, End of Life Directions in Aged Care, if anyone hasn't heard of them before. And I did put a link to the PDF in the comments. And when I get sharing permission, I'm happy to share the screen too.
I have to stop sharing and where's share content? I don't know. I'm not too sure I don't know where I'd go. I might slow things down too much if I had to.
That's okay. I put the link in the chat, so have a little pop it in a tab for yourselves, guys, and have a little look at it after the session.
We'll come back to it. Yeah. You know, in a later one. But suffice it to say, it's a representation of the way people decline on their way to end of life. And I think if you forget everything else that we tell you, one thing, palliative care is core business in aged care, and the other one is the trajectories. Like, remember that image when we finally show it to you of deterioration, because that's what's happening in aged care. And a lot of the time the families don't understand that. And that's why it's so important to keep on keeping the families on the same page. And advanced care planning is a great opportunity to just sit down and have an honest chat about with everybody, with the resident and with the families, asking them sort of what they see in front of them and how they see things unfolding and what they know about death and dying, because a lot of them don't know a lot. And they're looking to us to tell them. And if we don't tell them, no one will. They're waiting for us to say something. It's a very important role and a very important sort of space that we hold as carers. And I'm asking you to take it seriously. Next.
So this is the goals. The image. Sorry, Rose. I managed to put the image in the chat as an image. So
have I? Are we still? I've lost you now. I can't see. Oh. Are we still? Okay, good.
We're looking at goals of care form. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's pretty small, but I'm hoping that like most facilities I come across use this form, and I've put that up as a contrast to the advanced care planning forms that you would find on the advancedcareplanning.org.au website. And again, I argue that this is the most useful form for someone in residential aged care, because a lot of the time that advanced care plan form talks about it's sort of geared more towards people who are living an independent life, and you know what would happen if, you know, God forbid, something would change, or you know you're in an accident or you become unwell. Whereas this this is more useful, certainly for staff. It gives you a really quick, at a glance idea of what direction this person's heading. Now, out of 40 residents, for example, you might have maybe 3 or 4 that would be opting for goal A, and the rest are further down the line. And I think it's great to just keep on updating this form. And every time there's a change, like an acute admission or a fall or a chest infection, whatever it is, or there's been a perceived change within the team that everyone's saying, oh, something's really happened in the last month. We've seen a real decline in this person. Maybe it's time we stopped and had a look and reevaluated the goals. Made sure that the goals of care are still in line with what the person wants, so that if they do deteriorate even further, you're not going to reach for the phone. If they've said, no, I only want goal C or goal D, just keep me comfortable, don't send me off anywhere. And if that's not communicated within the team, or it's not been brought to our attention, then they're in A&E on the trolley before we know it, and they've gone through all of that unnecessary discomfort and drama when they didn't need to. On the back of the goals of care form is really great. Look, I encourage you all to have a good look at that and remember that it's there, because this is a place where you can record those incidental conversations you might be having as you're walking someone down the corridor on the way to the dining room for breakfast. And they might just give you some comment about, oh, I've just had enough of this. When's this going to be over? I'm sick of it. Or, I just don't want to do this anymore. Or conversely, I'm full of vim and vigor and I can't wait to see my daughter or my grandchild get married in May, or whatever it is. So anything that gives us a hint or will contribute to the conversation about what kind of care this person would want is well worth writing down. I think it's important that you remember all that. And again, you're the person they've told. They may not tell anybody else, but you're the one that holds that information. And so if we share it, we create a much more complete picture of the person. Don't ever trivialize that and think that it doesn't matter. So in aged care, the best model is to have these conversations early and often. Just keep on coming back. I think 12 monthly, at least a review to make sure that nothing's changed. And every time there's a change in condition, have another look at the goals of care or the advanced care plan to make sure that we're still on the right page and heading in the right direction. Question every step, stop and prop. Make sure you're not just assuming that the person wants whatever it is they want. And remember that the advanced care plan only comes into effect when they can't speak for themselves. If they have written down, no, I don't want any care, and then when push comes to shove and we say, well, what do you want? They say, no, send me to hospital, I want everything. Then that's as long as it's not medically futile, they still have the choice to go against that plan. Just because it's written down doesn't mean it's set in stone. And it is, and really is, the advanced care plan is a snapshot of a moment in time. And it's important to remember that. It was only sort of truly relevant on the day that it was signed. And then we sort of go on until, or as such time when that person can't speak for themselves. And then that's the best information we've got. So the more up to date and relevant it stays, the better. Have regular family meetings. I think this is really important. And I don't know how often, how widespread regular family meetings are, and I know they're very time consuming. It's just an extra thing that you have to do, and it can be really difficult. But I think there's a lot of grief to be saved by having regular family meetings, and people will have much better deaths, in my opinion, because the family are still, the nearest and dearest to that person, and they still are going through their own stuff, and they can experience a death in a certain way that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. As Dame Cicely Saunders, the grandmother of the palliative care movement, said, the way people die lives on in the hearts and minds of those who love them. And if we don't get it right, then that family member or those family members carry that grief and that angst and that sadness with them out into the world. And then that colours the way they approach their own death. So it's like ripples, you know. We've got such an amazing opportunities to get death right, and the positive benefits of that are immeasurable. Regular case meetings really encourage the team to sit around and talk together about, say, if you identify that you've got some residents who appear to be, say, in the last 3 months or 6 months, you know, if you ask that surprise question, would you be surprised if they were still here in 6 months? And the answer is no. Then sit and talk and have a good look at their care plan and a good look at the direction you're taking them in, and making sure that everything's up to date. You've had good conversations with the family so that they know what you know. It's really important. Go back to the trajectories graph again. A lot of the time the families don't see the deterioration, they just see the bounce back, and so that they're not actually seeing that the person has actually taken a dive. They forget or they don't want to see it. And everyone on the team can contribute. That's the managers, the catering staff, the gardener, whoever's around, the PCAs, the RNs, ENs, environmental staff, receptionist. Everybody has a role to play in contributing to a person's advanced care plan. Wow, look at that, 1452. So these are more resources. So that's the website, advancedcareplanning.org.au. There's great training modules there that I strongly encourage you to go to. And again, palliative care is core business in aged care. So you are palliative care, generalist palliative care practitioners if you're working in aged care. And you have the responsibility to keep yourself educated around all this. So I strongly encourage you to go to advancedcareplanning.org.au. It's a really good website, and they've got really great little bite-sized education modules that are fantastic. They've just been updated 12 months ago. There's Sam and my email addresses, and as I say, we love hearing from you. If you want to know more or you want to get more information, we're more than happy to provide that to you. We have a whole lot of other information about palliative care, and this is a 4-part series, just a half an hour sessions. And this is the QR code there is to our newsletter if you don't already get it. I suspect if you showed up here, it's probably because you got a mail out, so that's good. But if you're here because a colleague pointed you in the direction of this and you don't currently get our newsletter, please feel free to subscribe, and we'll send you things. We send out a thing every month, and it's just got links and information to things that are happening, education that we're hosting at different times. Sam, you got anything to add?
You were on a roll, so I didn't.
Yeah, powered through, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the suggestion that Rose gave around the goals of care document, and sometimes the directive itself can be the barrier. And if you've ever looked at a directive, it's not actually a terribly difficult document to fill out, but the conversations around values can be the tough one. And a good directive is hard to do, even though the paperwork isn't actually as scary when you look at it than sometimes we think it is. Something to bear in mind if the resident does want, and if after have a conversation that you think it's good for them to have a directive or a goals of care document, that those two documents, though the multidisciplinary team can contribute to it, it does ultimately get signed by a doctor. Ideally, the doctor that knows them, their GP. However, I will stick a link into the Advanced Care Planning Clinic that is run from the VVSC, the Virtual Specialist Consults. So they will help you to fill out an advanced care directive, or help even with the completed signing of a goals of care form should you be in strife getting hold of your doctor, for example, because the directive, as valid as it is on the day that it is done, it is, if it's a directive, it's a legally binding document for its entire life, unless a new directive is made which supersedes the old one, or on the advanced care planning document, the directive document, there is the option for an expiry date, but it is an optional expiry date. So just so you know, that someone could have done a directive years ago and still, should you operate against it and the family wish to take legal action against you, that document is still legally valid. So you need to really be looking at them and making sure that they are up to date, because what is valid to somebody, what is relevant to somebody 3 or 4 years ago, especially in aged care when people have life-limiting illnesses and they deteriorate, could very well not be relevant to what happens to them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yes. Has anyone got any questions? Show yourselves. We do like to see people on videos. It's nice to, we're always,
Howdy.
hello, Melinda. We're always trying to create, networking opportunities as well, because I think it's useful to reach across the boundaries and have a chance to share with each other and network.
Has anyone got any like experience of getting people to do a directive or planning, or have you got one yourselves? Has anyone got their own advanced care plan sorted out? Oh, Belinda's giving a nod. Your microphone's off if you wanted to. You're very welcome to.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
May I just ask a question? I've just got it up on another computer. The medical treatment
Decision making.
the goals of care.
Mm.
Obviously, that has to be completed by the doctor, and it's only so we have this in acute and in aged care. Same document. The document.
The actual document for aged care has residential aged care up the top of it. I don't know if it was, but they're very, very similar. Pretty much just the title has changed from what I can tell between the two. Yeah.
And tell me, can we have that out in the community? Can people privately have that filled in by their GP or with their GP and have that with their advanced care plan?
That's a good question. I think that it is more difficult to hold a goals of care document as a member of the community, especially because if you were to then go into acute care or into residential care, you would need to do a fresh one as part of policy. So it would be probably quite hard to keep your track of the most recent one.
Yeah, I don't know that it'd be all that useful. I think you're better off, for someone in the community, you're better off using the 6-page form, the advanced care directive form, which asks for a lot more information and provides a lot more sort of springboards for discussion. That's the value. That's the value of the form. You don't have to have a completed form at the end of it, as long as you have the discussion. You appoint somebody to speak on your behalf if you lose the ability to do so, and that you've had a chat with that person about what you want. They're the two most important things. If you end up with a document at the end of it, that's great, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask that is that the goals of care are very discreet. I mean, they're a 1-page document.
Yes.
And for people in the community who are carers for their for saying their partner, they they will have the advanced care plan hopefully on file, but it's just very concise, isn't it? When you walk through that front door, this is what my mother or this is what my partner, this is what they want.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. As I'm aware, there's not a in-home goals of care document in existence yet. There's the hospital and the residential, but yeah, like I don't think exist as yet an
No, I
in-home
think
goals of care.
it's the general
Yeah.
form then.
Yeah. But I like what you're thinking. Like I like the ideas that you have of it being really succinct. I've been known to tell people to put their advanced care directive upon like on their fridge, for example. So should they have family around and the ambulance gets called out, the ambulance might know, like they tend to go to the fridge to have a look and see if
Yes.
there is one.
Or
That's
at
quite
least
common
have a sign
practice.
on the fridge saying the advanced care plan is, in the cutlery
Yeah.
drawer or whatever it is.
Yes.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so
Helen,
yeah, go on.
oh sorry, yeah, she says they've got community clients who subsequently come into care and use their known goals of care they have spoken about with their family as a basis
Yeah.
for advanced care planning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and just like that's exactly like back to what Rose was saying, that's the importance is in the conversation. The conversation is the ideal thing. If you end up with a legal signed document with a doctor afterwards, that's great, but that's more around the protection of you as a healthcare provider and the person and their family, that people are not going to operate against it. And especially if you're worried that like maybe a family member's just going to like come out of the woodwork and start throwing their weight around, or that some weird and wonderful thing may happen within the facility that you think might be against their values, that's when I'd be really leaning into getting that signed directive in place. But the conversation is I think sometimes the worry about getting the document signed is the thing that stops the conversation from happening even in the first place. But any conversation about someone's values and wishes and what they would want should they be unable to speak for themselves is planning. And hopefully that's something that me and Rose sing about quite a bit.
Yeah, we can. You're all welcome to take off if you like, or we can hang around and keep asking questions. Feel free to leave if you need to. And thank you very much for coming. And we'll see you next week, maybe.
Yeah, we'll stick
Tell
around
your
for any
friends.
questions.